Right. So, yeah, first of all, I need to know which batch you are from. Are you from 21 batch, 22 batch, or 23 batch? Which batch are you from?
21.
21. All right. That means your exams are on May. Okay. So technically, you have March, April, 2 months. So if you just look at your syllabus, you know that if you look at the poetry section, do you know about how the marks are formed? About the paper? Yes or no?
Little bit, no. Yeah.
Little bit. All right. Okay. So then wait, I will just. I will show you the 2019 paper and tell how the paper is formed, because the reason is without you knowing how the paper is formed, you actually can't target questions. Because when targeting questions in the sense now, you don't have to study the whole book to actually, do the exam. Because if you look at the 2000, I mean, if you look at the paper two part, that means not the context questions, the essay questions, you can actually target and go. Now, in the paper structure that you have in part one, there's section A and B. In section A, you have context questions from poetry, short story, drama. And then again, you have another 10-mark questions for part B from the novel. So then for this part, if I tell you how you need to study, that means for the context section, if you can take a brand new book, or else if you have your book already, or if you can just use a soft copy, start annotating it. Now, annotating in the sense, I don't want you to write down every single thing. Okay, say this is the technique, this is the theme. No, not like that. I will show you an example on how you have to do that. Okay, now just take this as an example. Just look at the first two lines and just mark. Okay, now in this part, this is a personification. This is this technique. This is this theme. Like that, just identify and go. That is the best thing you can do for context questions. Because if you look at context questions, the first part of the context question is to identify the text. That means who is the person who wrote it. What is it? You couldn't find the paper. Wait, sorry, you can't see the screen. All right. Yes. So now, wait, I will just show you a rough question. Here. Now look at this question. Now this question, they are saying they have given a context part and they are asking where these lines are taken from. So if you look at the whole series of the context questions, all of these context questions ask the same thing. They're asking where these lines are from and who wrote it. So for that, you should be thorough with the text. So for that, you don't have to memorize, but when you read, you just have to read through the book once. That's enough. Then for the second part and the third part, that is what I said, annotating is important. So usually in the second part, they are asking things like, some of the techniques or relationships between characters. That's what they're asking. Like more than relationship, they're like asking, to identify the themes, the meanings, and things like that. Most of the time in the third part, they're asking a little bit deeper thing. That means if you just look at how the marks are formed, see, from the marks itself, you can understand. Now here they have given only 1 mark for identifying the person and the text. But they have given 2 marks each for what? For the second part and the third part, which means these two are a little bit important. So for that, now here they have just asked the theme. So similarly, when you study, you have to read the text and just find, like I told you, now this is Sun of All, Moon, Mountain, Africa. This means this is the personification, right? Then what are the themes? What are the techniques? Now this, of course, if you are going for a class, the teacher must have given, or else you can do some online reading. You can do some online reading and plan it out. And so this is not the hard part. The hard part is when it comes to paper 2. Now, in paper 2, most of the kids, what they ask is, code, 1 minute. No, I didn't get a code. No, I didn't get code. Right. So then, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to sign into my account. All right. So then the problem the kids face is, oh, thank God, I got it. Give me just a single minute. I will soon send the. I hope this works. Check whether it works. All right. Then the problem is in paper two. Now, what is like? How about paper one and two? Which is hard? What is hard for you? Paper one or paper two? For most of the
Paper
kids,
one
paper
is
two.
easy, but paper two sometimes little bit troubling on the novel part and all.
Novel part. Okay. Right. So then I will just tell you this part. Now, when it comes to studying in the last bit, now you all have few months more. No? So technically, you don't have to practice questions from every single poem. Okay. If you just look at poetry, that is because if you just look at poetry, if you look at poetry, the poetry sections, you know they're broken down in themes, no? As poems from nature, poems from society, like that they have given. No? If you just look at the contents, you can see in the contents page. Have you noticed that the poetry is
Yes.
broken down in themes? So a major tip in papers is that they have given one question from each theme. So from nature poems, they have given one question. Now you have to select one. See, they have given now for poetry, they have given 5 questions, 6 questions. See, there are 6 questions from poetry given. So out of the 6, you have to select one question. So it's pretty easy. So 6 questions means these 6 questions are from the 6 themes. Already there are 6 themes in your poetry syllabus. No? So from that, they have given one question per theme. So that means if you are familiar with one theme, you can tackle it up. Like means for an example thing, you are very good with the nature poems. So then you don't have to pay much attention on the other poems. So thoroughly study the nature poems. So obviously out of those nature poems, you will have a question for paper 2. So when you're practicing questions, practice questions more on that area. So that is what you can do in the last bit. So if you were someone from the 2023, that's what I will be saying is first study all the text and try questions for all the text. But because you have less time, now you must have written questions so far. From like every single section, you must have written at least one question per poem, I believe so, right? You should. So in that sense, you know which is easier for you. Then select that theme. Now in my sense, what I liked was not nature. I like society. I like the theme of society. When I was doing all level literature and all that, I used to select theme of society always. Because theme of society and this human relations, all that was more familiar for me. Then I studied more on that. So I wrote answers and all that more on that. It's not that I neglected the others because I need them for paper 1. So for paper 1, now I'm just talking about poetry first, okay? So for the poetry section for paper 1, I will be annotating all the text and just going through what are the themes, what are the techniques, and what are the relationships with the rhymes. That is what I'm going to do. And for paper 2, I will select the theme which I am familiar with, not the entire thing, because I'm not going to waste my time, because obviously I know that there's a question from what I know, right? So what you have to do is go through your answers and see what what are the answers you got more marks for, and select that particular theme for answering questions for paper 2, right? Then it's the same story going with short stories also. Now for short stories also same way, I mean short stories in the sense prose. In prose, now you know there are like limited number of prose. No, like you have now wait, I'll show you. That also is very funny. They have given. Okay. Now see, there's one question from Lumber Room. There's one question from Nightingale and the Rose. There's one question from Wave. There's one question from Lahore Tech. So what does this mean? There is one question from all the short stories for you to select. So you don't have to tire yourself studying all the short stories to find a question. You can select what is easier for you. You can study that particular short story, which you think is like much easier for you, and practice. So most of the time, the children's choice is Lumber by Saki, because that's the most easiest one, and the questions are also limited. Because if you just look at, now I'll just tell you for an example, because Lumber was my favorite. Lumber what can they ask about? They can ask about the themes of about the themes. That means what are the themes? They're very limited. No, now if you look at, there are only two main characters, right? Nicholas and the aunt. So they can ask to compare and contrast the characters. So they will ask to compare and contrast the theme of generation, the generation gap. So generation gap is also shown to these two characters. No? Same way, they will just change the words. That is the only thing they can ask. The other thing is punishments. So they can ask about ill treatments, punishments, harassing, and all that. That is one thing. Other than that, the major keywords of this short story is power, generation gap, and the generation gap. These are the two things juggling around the story, right? And another key thing which you can do is read questions and answers, not to memorize, because something one of the paper marking teachers told me is that she told me that the teachers know when they read your answers, they know this child goes to this person's class, this child has used this resource, they know why, because our children, what they do is they memorize the words and write it as it is. So if we just take, there was a teacher called teacher A, so all the students of teacher A is going to write down the words which teacher A gave as model answer. So then all of them are having the same answer. Then the person who is marking, they know teacher A, they know the style of teacher A. Even if they don't know, when they see similar answers popping up, they know this is not what the child is thinking. So for that, please make it your words. It's okay even if you're using simple words, just make it authentic, make it unique as possible, because that's one of the key features. Because now there are old people, young people, people from all ages who are marking. If they feel fed up in the very start of your paper one, it's not a problem in paper one, but when it comes to paper two, if the teacher gets fed up and this child is just copying from somewhere, that impression really impacts, right? That impression really impacts, because they think, no, maybe your last answer is a fabulous answer, but the impact you created in the start cannot be erased, because they are in this depressed mode. They are like totally stressed up with marking, and if they get a bad impact on you, you can't change it, because this is a subject which doesn't have a fixed marking scheme. It does, see, these points are given as a marking scheme, but still, like, there is nothing said that this is the right answer, this is the wrong answer, right? So that impression is very important. And also when it comes to writing, in a line, try to limit your words to around 9 to 12. Don't write more than 12, sorry, words. Don't write more than 12 words in one sentence, I mean in one line, because you have rules, you have lines. So in lines, don't write more than 12 words, because that also is a problem, because some write big letters thinking that they can fool the marker. That is also not going to happen, right? So then now I spoke about how to select questions with short stories and dramas. Also the same thing. If you look at the two dramas, they have given questions from both the two dramas for paper 2, right? So then in that also you can select the drama which is easier for you and practice questions from that. And then for novel, now in A levels, there's a problem that if you select one novel for the context, you can't write answers from the same novel for essay. But there is nothing like that for O levels. So even by studying one novel, you can write O levels, because when I did O levels, I studied only one novel. You don't have to study two novels. So if you're good with Vendor of Sweets, that is my also personal favorite. If you take Vendor of Sweets, you can study it for context, you can study it for essay, right? So
Yeah, I'm taking a drop it.
you're also doing Vendor of Sweets, no?
Yeah.
All right, that is good. Then then the next thing I wanted to talk about is how do you study for paper 2 and characters and everything. Okay, a big problem the children have, the other problem is when you all study, you all wonder which part should I study as quotations. What is the most important quotation that I should study? They have this problem like that. I will just show you a simple short note which I have created, which I think you all can also do personally by yourself. Like, hope this opens. Yeah, yes. Now when it comes to notes, most of the time you all have lengthy notes, but please remember they're not asking you. Now sometimes the children, when you tell to study, they study about the author's full history. No one cares when they were born. You don't have to write them. Just remember the important points. Right now I have just summarized it, and these are the important things which you need to know about the narration, about the characteristics. Now these phrases, these phrases are things which you need to remember. That means not everything. Just take examples. Just remember some similes. You can make, like, there's something like this. Like if you just look at the play, you can feel like this. And if this gives us an idea about the character, like this is a simile. This is a technique. So you don't have to remember everything. Just remember few quotes. Now see, now this part. I'm just showing this part. Nicholas's imagination and curiosity. Just to show this point, I can say wonderful things, a living, breathing story, a fact, important, looking key, instant attention. Then to show Nicholas's character, the writer has said skilled tactician. Then what are the ironic phrases? Like these simple things. But these are very important. Like when it comes to the language part, right? What are the metaphors used, the symbols, and the other part is symbols. Now this, of course, because your exam is near, you can do something like this. Take the symbols. You can even Google search this because you have less time. You can Google search and see what are the symbols of this particular thing. Now, my personal favorite website would be Lit Charts. I'm not sponsored, I'm just saying. But even in Lit Charts, there are some restrictions like premium stuff. So you don't have to go through all that. Just look at the key terms, keywords, and there are some Sri Lankan websites as well, but I don't know how far they are technically right. But there are some books from authors and everything. But more than everything, if you just look at literature, you can do it by yourself. Like basically, if you know what is imagery, what is irony, when you read the text, you can find what is irony. Obviously, before going to the text exam, you should read the textbook at least 3 times. At least 3 times, yes. But you should do that. But because exams are close by, only reading won't be enough. You will have to write the answers. So yeah, so like this. Now, so these are the themes. So when it comes to questions, they can give questions twisting up these words. There's nothing else to ask. They will ask something related to the themes or the characters, right? For paper 2. Then you said something about the novel. All right. Now for the novel, when you study the novel, now I will tell how I used to study novel. So when I study novel, what I did was I took a book and divided them according to the themes and the techniques. And while reading, I wrote down the quotations. Now, if I find any quotation related to a theme, that means for an example, if I take characters, themes, everything, I can say generation gap. Now I'm talking about Vendor of Sweets by R.K. Narayan. So there's this generation gap. And then about the East-West conflict, about the Gandhian movement, about like that Jagan is a strong Gandhite. And then about characteristics of Jagan, the character of Mali, the character of Grace, the character separate, that is character chart, character of the cousin, which is a very important role. Those things, the character separated and the themes separately. So the themes also I broke them like that. I can't remember the exact wording, but I just told you some examples, right? So Jagan as a good businessman, Jagan as a religious person, Jagan as a hypocrite. These are the characteristics of the person, right? So, and one more thing which I did was, and for all poetry, short story, and everything, I just took the character. Now, for an example, if I just take eagle, if you watch my video on YouTube about eagle, you can find out. If you just take this, I can't draw. If you just take the eagle, I will just draw an eagle in the middle of my book and list out the characteristics and the quotations. Now, if you just take eagle, superiority. Now, for an example, superiority. I'm just saying superiority, and then I will just write the quote. What is the quotation which I can take to prove? Because it's not only bringing up facts. Many children memorize facts and bring out facts. Remember, even if you give 5 facts, just 5 simple facts with quotations or with proof, That is enough. Because sometimes now there are some occasions where children ask, this is another question that children have asked me. I know the incident and I know that this is a very good point to add, but I don't know the quotation. What should I do? So in this situation, when I'm answering that question, what you have to do is write down the quotation in your own words without putting inverted commas. Try to add another paragraph to it. For an example, just think I'm talking about the character of Nicholas. For an example, I'm talking about the character of Nicholas. Then I want to tell Nicholas is very practical, but I don't know the quotation. But there is this little fact that in every paragraph they expect you to have a quotation. No? I mean, usually because they give marks for quotation. So then what I will be doing is I will start my paragraph talking about imagination, about the imagination of Nicholas, right? About the imagination of Nicholas, and I will just say he's a very imaginative, blah blah blah, and with the quotation. And I will combine my practical point to the imagination point. He's not only imaginative but also very practical. He proved that when he was unlocking the keys with practice. You can say something like that. So then both your points are being included and also a quotation is being given. So you can use some simple tricks like that. Now at the moment, what is the biggest problem you're facing in literature? Tell me. What is the problem you have?
I'm having still I didn't complete the novels. I mean, full I didn't read.
You mean
So
the novel? The problem is with the novel.
yeah.
Right. Then if the problem is with the novel, have you read the whole novel alone?
No, still not. It's in the half.
Okay, you have read through half. Can you understand the story when you read the novel?
Yeah, little bit.
Yeah, little bit. Okay, then if you can, I would say there are many supplement books because now at the moment, like actually I don't like to promote the supplement book, but because you all have a small time for the exam, supplement reading would be very good. Or else you can just research, like you can just chapter wise you can search. Like that is something which even I did when I was studying. You can search the vendor of sweets, chapter 1 analysis, chapter 1 themes, chapter 1 techniques. Now for an example, I will just do it. I will just type what is it, vendor of sweets, chapter 1 themes. Just for an example. See here they have given the main themes of the novel. Right? And then what is the summary? Just go through this summary. And if we just take word by word, is this analysis? Here they have given videos. There are so many what you call materials, right? So please use these materials. Don't waste it. And one more thing is just look at the past paper questions and see what are the questions they have already asked. Because there's a big possibility that they don't ask the same thing again, no? Right? I mean, not now. If you just think, yes, last year I don't know what they asked last year. I can't remember if they have asked about the generation gap. So there is a less possibility of them asking the same thing again. So then for that, just go. First of all, do like this. Now just look at this one. I'm just taking this for an example, morality and hypocrisy. So what is the question that I can form from this? How is morality and hypocrisy depicted in the short story The Lumber Room by Saki? A question like that. Just form the question. That you can't answer all the questions now. You don't have time because you have 8 more subjects. I understand. So what you can do is basically now just do what I did, what I told you to do. Get the book, get a hard copy or a soft copy, and just quote it down. Refer notes, refer websites, refer whatever you want, and just mark the points. Like this is this, this is this, this is this. Because and then after that, go through now. First, now I told you have to do 3 readings. First, now that is something which I told my students as well. First reading is you have to read it and understand. First read and understand. If you don't know any word, find the meaning of the word and understand the story. Second reading is you identifying all the themes, techniques, characteristics, and everything. You're going to underline, highlight, do all the blah, blah, blah. Right? And have a separate notebook and do what I told you. For every story, what are the themes? What are the characteristics? What are the literary techniques? And also mark those in the book. Use some colored highlighters for that. Now, for an example, think these are the themes. So all the themes, I will highlight it in, I will highlight this part. I will highlight all the themes in one color. The characteristics of aunt in one color, like that, right? So you can do that as well. And if you want any analysis of any poem or short story, you can also search on that and find that. So the basic thing is, the other one is practicing questions. Now, when it comes to practicing questions, if you just go online, and now there's this website called English Literature Sri Lanka or something like that. In that, they have actually given some model papers and past year papers of provinces as well. And also the government website, Itaksalav. In Itaksalav also, they have given past papers of different years as well. And one more thing which I have to tell, if you are you from a government school or an international school?
Government school.
Government school. What is your school?
Zahira College, Putla.
Zahira College. Great. Now, if you have contact with other school children or some kids like other school children, try to get their last term test paper. This is a very high trick, okay? Because now who make the papers? Usually, if you just take the provincial papers, the panel, it's government paper, and government paper is made from the panel. So sometimes now in my year, my maths paper was kind of similar to one of the province's papers. I can't remember which province it was, but it was kind of similar to the province or to a paper, another provincial paper, which was not from my district. Now I'm from Colombo, it was from somewhere else, right? But the questions were similar. So if you have a little bit contact on that, because usually for the third term test, they give you questions like targets, because that is the paper they identify, whether you what the grade is going to be. That is like the mock test. So that is the mock test is going to be what your teacher targets. So same way in other schools also, you get the targets of the other school kids. Try to swap the papers, because that's something we did when we were doing, all of us, we used to swap papers with each other and try them out. Then we ask them what are the points your teacher told, and we share. Right? We had study groups. That is how we used to do. Right? So do you have friends to discuss? Do you discuss with your friends or what?
Yeah, I have.
You have, right? So then is your problem sorted, or is it still not sorted? Just tell me, if it is not sorted, what is your problem? What is the remaining part?
Remaining part is I'm having little bit doubt on writing appreciation. I mean, in the introduction part, what we have to include, that's the issue. Like we have to brief it.
Right. Wait, I will tell you that nicely from an essay question. Wait. In school, did you have any term tests recently?
Still not.
Still not. Okay. Now, if you look at paper 2, you get 7. Now, your 15 marks. This is how your 15 marks are formed now. You get 7 marks for the content. Content can karunu, the points. 4 marks for organization. That means how you break down the paragraphs, like whether you have the quotations included, whether you have given the correct terms, right? For that. Then 4 marks for language. So language means your vocabulary, your grammar and spelling, right? So most of the time, if you are good at English, this is secured. You'll at least get 3 from this. If you're good at your English, right? The problem is this part, the content and organization. Content, but organization is a problem for most. So usually what happens in many of our essays, first you have to give the intro. No? So for the intro, you should first tell what this text is, right? What it is from. So for an example, if this is, wait, I will show it with the question they have given. Here, Twilight of a Crane. Now here, what is the question they have given? The Twilight of a Crane is a love story between a husband and a wife. Now, what is the point here? They have given is, okay, does this sum up the main theme of the drama? Justify your answer with close reference to the play. Now, what is it? What they're asking is the main theme of the drama. Here they are saying it's a love story, husband, wife. Just find out the keywords. The question is, okay, it's a question. Let me, sometimes they give it as a point, but here they have given it as a question. Right. So first you have to start or end by saying whether it is yes or no. Right. First you need to say, first thing you need to say is where it is from. So you can say this is, or you can say that the drama Twilight of the Crane by the playwright Junji Kinoshita is based on, or is a, or you can say is a Japanese. No, I guess it is a Japanese drama or Japanese folk tale, folk drama, something like that. And then now see what are the points they have given. Look at these points, okay? Now when you're studying, please look at these points they have given. This is what they're expecting from you. Constant change in everything. Desire, love, beauty, blah, blah, blah. Human beings, greed for money. Human beings, changing nature of expectation. Social influence. Hypocrisy, insincerity. Sincerity and gratitude. Fragility. Perseverance, sacrifice. Human natural. Right? So like this is what they're expecting from you. So then you can say either yes or no. So if I'm saying as a yes or no, I would say no. So I will say the drama or the play Twilight of the Crane by the playwright Junji Kinoshita is not only a love story between a husband and wife, but also discusses a vast range of themes. Now just look at that sentence. A line with him, it's clear, right? What I'm going to say. So it means I have answered this part of the question. This part of the question I have already answered. They're asking yes or no, so I said no. Right? I have said no in a better way without just saying no. Right? So that is my start. Then I would say, now that is my introduction. No? Then I will say it discusses about a wide range of themes. And if I want, I can give some examples, or else I can say the themes, the characters, the love, or I can say now I'm not referring to a script points, I'm just making up. Okay, so I can say the role of Sue as a crane or a piece of or an animal which symbolizes her purity and a piece of nature, and the characteristics of the husband as a human shows contrasting elements in the plot of the story or plot of the play, and therefore depicts the following themes, or depicts the themes discussed below. That is my introduction. Introduction doesn't have to be a very long paragraph, right? Unless you tell what it is all about, or just a summation. Now there is a saying, now this is not something which I should say in public, but still, even one of my teachers told me that most of, like, sometimes the markers, when they double check, they read the first part and the last part, just to double check whether biotech we can get understand this child knows read. It doesn't mean that you have to write rubbish in the middle, no, but that is something my teacher told me as well. So I also believe that. And also when it comes to us personally, when we also read an article or something, we first read the first lines and the last lines, no? The introduction and the conclusion. So when we read the introduction and the conclusion, it should be a summary of what it is all about. So in the introduction, I have given a clue what my analysis is all about. Then I would use something called the fishbone skeleton, or else you can say a tree diagram or something. You can call it whatever you want unless the work is done. Just take the keyword. What now here? Here there is no like here there is not there is no highlighted words, but I will just show you an example. Here the keyword is love. Right? Here ill treatment. Like that. Now here there isn't a exact word, so I would take theme. My word is theme. Okay, so I'm just taking my word is theme. Then from this I will break it. Then what are the themes? So I need 3 points. No, I need 3 points. So I will take 3 themes. One thing is I would take the change. I'm just taking keywords. Change, money, and change, money, and love. Right. So from this, now I would have to select what I have to write about first. So then I would take what has the most weight. It depends. Now if I can write more about change, I would take change first. Take it in a priority order. Just number it in your priority order. Now for an example, now I'm just telling. I'm just think this was my priority order. Then first I'm talking about change, then go into money, then go into love. Okay, then change. What is it about change? Now, if you just look at the 2 worlds, right? Now, the 2 worlds, like if you take the crane, Sue, she's a piece of nature, right? So she can't. She says that now there are quotations, right? I don't understand what they say. Oh, you are turning into them. Also, I can't remember the exact quotes because I did exams far back. So yeah, then you have to remember those quotes. Just few quotes, just to show that she doesn't understand what they are saying. Because and then you can show how husband was before Yohio, how Yohio was before, and how he gradually converted with money. Here, see how you link it up. There are more things you have to talk about when it comes to change, right? But I'm just telling it in brief. So then now when you jump off one mistake, another mistake. Another mistake the kids do is if you look at 3 paragraphs separated, there are 3 stories. There is no link. There should be a link between these. That means all the time your paragraph should link to the main key theme, and there should be an interrelationship between these. So that means, so if I'm talking about change, when I'm ending now, okay, I was talking about blah 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 about change. Then when I don't straight away jump into money, I would say one of the major reasons for change was the development of greediness due to the influence of Sodom and Unso. Then I would say the Koth or the Sembori, and you can talk about the Kyoto and all that, and how did they make Yohio greedy? How did they make Yohio greedy? Yohio change due to money, link money into that. Then talk about how the theme of money showed the change in their love, the destruction of their love. Like that, take 3 points and try to link them. Just make it smooth, like a story. Because when you have 3 separate, it's like 3 different analyses. Just make it one, right? Then give your conclusion as a summary of the above. So you can say, not only, you can say Twilight of the Crane is not simply a love story between a husband and wife, but also discusses many themes you can say themes, and as discussed above, the theme of change, the theme of money or greediness, and the theme of love can be considered as the main themes discussed in the drama. Something like that, and sum up. Now, can you understand how to write an answer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any other problems you face? Tell me, anything? Or all your problems sorted?
Yeah, I'm okay now. And so you're telling us the main thing is introduction and the conclusion should be strong, like that.
Yes, they should be strong. Most of the time, what the children tell is they will just paraphrase the lines. They will just write the same thing here and tell is discussed below and just write down. Don't do like that. Just give a hint or a clue of what it is. That makes your answers outstanding, because for organization, it's not only points. No, you saw that 4 marks are given for organization. So you should have your answer organized, right? And then content also, list out the content. Have like actually have one major point in one paragraph. And there's this, because of this quotation problem, you can have one major point and a few sub points. Like you can take few sub points and add it into one. Like you can talk about the Sembori, Kyoto, money, all that, or like greediness, all that under one concept, money. Can you understand? Like that, if you can't find one major point, sum up few points and make up one point. Then you can add a quotation of any of the sub points to make it the quotation. Can you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any other problems? No?
No.
No. Right. Okay. No. So the problem is I had to start the session at 11. Okay. And the other students was texting me, and after because at 12 they have a session of blah 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 blah. So then I told that I'll record and all that. And the problem was I forgot my password password on my Google account, and I couldn't sign in, and I still can't sign in on my YouTube account. So I have to fix that up. That's why I had to quickly shift into Zoom. Right? I will try to upload this recording on YouTube so that you can share it with your friends. And if you have any poems or short stories you want analysis on, if you want any explained videos about any of those, just drop them on my channel under any of the under any of the videos, so that my coordinator would inform me directly that this should be made. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Then shall we wind up?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, then. Welcome. Bye.